Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the final lesson in the reading series of the TOEFL exam. We are going to look at the most difficult part of the test, which is read an academic passage, which is the only survival from the previous academic nature of the TOEFL test. Previously, we saw really short notices, social media posts, filling the gaps, very quick and easy text to deal with, but here we're going to get things a little bit more complicated. Again, remember, we will read an academic passage, but again, that passage is not very long. It's not like 2 pages like we have in IELTS. So it's shorter and fewer questions, and it's much more manageable. The topics are not very far-fetched and very complicated topics we used to have back in the day in TOEFL exam. So another reason why TOEFL 2026 is your best choice. This is what the academic passage is going to look like. You see a text, usually 3 to 4 paragraphs. Remember, this may change as they are, as I'm recording this video, they are already making some final adjustments to the test. So the length of this passage may vary down the road, but the approach and the general aspects of it will remain the same. This one is pretty straightforward. It reminds me of the good old passages in TOEFL where we had passage and the questions right in front of it, and then we had to answer the passage. I usually recommend to approach this in 2 ways. If you are not very comfortable with reading tests and reading passages, I recommend that you skim the text first. So you skim this passage very quickly. Remember, if and only if you are not usually comfortable with readings in general. If you are a good reader, if you are comfortable with text, I recommend that you go directly to questions. In either cases, when you get to the questions, remember, you see that each question has a different style and different nature. Some questions are are very general, like number 16. What is the passage mainly about? So go back, skim it again, find the main idea. Do not pay attention to details or keywords. Just pay to details or new words. Just find out based on the heading, based on the beginning and ending of each paragraph, what is the text mainly about. And then choose an answer, take some notes for yourself, then compare your notes with the options. The second one is finding the word. So there's a word in the first sentence. In TOEFL, it usually locates the word for you. So the word is here, as you see, milestone. So what does it refer to? You read the whole sentence before and after this word and try to find the best match. Again, I recommend before looking at the options, make a guess based on the text. So read this whole sentence. So read this whole sentence, okay? Read it and try to see what role this word is playing. This milestone, this is probably referring to something in the last phrase or clause. And make your best guess. Take some notes here. Again, I'm not going to tell you the answers. The answers are in the description. And then based on your notes, go back to the question and choose the best option. There are also some more detailed questions, like questions that you have to infer kind of from the context of the text. These usually need you to pay attention a little bit more to the sentences that are written and try to think about them and digest them before you get to the answer. But let's take a look at them. It's number 18 says, why did scientists put color marks on animals' bodies? So why? It is mentioned in the text. You have to go back to the text and find it. And then we have the whole familiar except question. So this is similar to that true, false, not given questions in IELTS, if you remember them, if you have seen them before. This is how I usually approach it. I read each sentence. I do not compare them or whatever. I read each sentence and I answer them false or not given based on the text. So I read the first one, true, false, not given. True, false, not given. I make my best choice. Then I usually end up with one or two options that are true. If only one of them is true in your understanding, then that's the answer that you need for number 19. In this case, we are looking for one of the sentences that is false according to the text. It says all of the following are true about elephants except. So we read them true or false, true or false, true or false. You usually end up with one or two that are false, and then you try to compare them, read them one more time more carefully between those two that you're not sure, and then you choose the right answer. There's usually one or two words that kind of give away the answer, and you can easily approach that. So when you see this kind of question, read each sentence independently, mark them true or false, true, false, true, false, true, false, and then compare those one or two options that are left and see whether or not which one is the best answer. And finally, we have another question which starts with why. Usually these questions want to look for the purpose of something in the text. Again, cleaner fish, you find it. It's easy, but I want you to pay close attention to the first half of the sentence again. Is it to suggest? Is it to imply? Is it to demonstrate, to show, or is it to provide an example? These help you narrow down. So, for example, why does the author mention cleaner fish? Based on your understanding, it was to show something either directly or indirectly. So probably the answer is probably what you're looking for is B or C because of these words. And then you read the second half of the sentences to see, for example, which one is your best choice. If you want to find the answers, please check the description. All right, folks, that's the end of the reading section. Please remember that in the new updates of TOEFL, the reading section is shorter. We have adaptive stage where we have module 1, module 2. Module 1 questions are the same. Module 1 questions are fixed, same. Based on your performance in module 1, you get adapted questions for part 2. It means that based on your ability, they will show you questions with a certain level of difficulty. So different people may deal with different questions. So probably if you're seeing questions are getting more difficult, it shows that you are getting into the high range of questions, which is a good news. Again, don't worry about that. It means that they're putting you in a kind of a high level basket. Remember, a lot is changing, a lot is happening, which is exciting, and I am really looking forward to these changes in TOEFL, and I highly recommend that you do consider TOEFL and use this course as a way to kickstart your preparation. And remember, practice is key. Getting feedback from people like me is key. So practice, ask questions, and remain consistent. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you in the next lesson.